And we start our next session in 5 minutes. And that is on the power of communities. Thank you.
There would be QR code displayed here, so please provide your feedback for it for the session. Thank you, everyone.
Good afternoon, everyone. So now we have our next session post-lunch. So again, I would like to know, how's the Josh? Hi, really? Again, I want to know, how's the Josh? Hi, thank you, Meenakshi. Thanks for the session, though. See, you have put up the Josh high, right? Okay. So, team, next we have is a session on the power of building communities by Aniket Khare and Chaitanya Saravate. So, they are going to share their experiences in Tier 2 Every on this topic. So, just to give you a brief introduction about both our speakers, Aniket Khare is working as a product development manager in Tier 2 Every Care. He has been a part of products focusing on solving problems and providing innovative solutions in healthcare domain. He likes to work closely with teams as a partner and experiment the learnings to succeed together. He's a guitarist and someone who loves music a lot. So I'm pretty sure he might have, or I would say rather, he must have enjoyed this today's session, right?
Absolutely.
The starting
absolutely.
session of music.
So we missed him.
So it has given him energy, right?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. So then we have Chaitanya Saravate. He has 16 years of experience in product development, leading cross-functional teams, architecture, and leadership. He's passionate about people, technology, and engineering. He's a people manager who leads by example, nurtures team members, fuels employees' productivity and performance. So I hand over the session to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I hope we are audible to you guys. Yes. Okay, thanks. So, how do we start? Welcome all. So, we have experienced some of the finest sessions from yesterday. I'm very sure you have also experienced some of you must have had your own learnings. But we here are today with a topic which you might have already been aware of. And it is a saying that whatever you do, give your 100% unless you are donating your blood. I hope you will not do that. So both of us are going to give our 100% to make sure that you will either discover or rediscover the power of communities from this session when those are applied or executed strategically. Myself, Aniket Khare, I have been part of the Tier 2 and working as a product development manager, and I have been part of the industry for more than 13 years now, where I have worked in different roles like software developer, Scrum Master, and now working as a product development manager. Over to you.
Yeah. My name is Chaitanya. Good afternoon to all of you. Thanks for very generous introduction of both me and Aniket. The only thing I would like to add to it is because I have been meeting a lot of people here, and invariably I'm getting a question, are you an agile coach? And at the outset, we would like to just tell you, neither of us is an agile coach. But we have been experimenting. Both of us had a technical background, and we have grown in this role. Okay, so the title is Power of Communities. And Meenakshi just in the previous talk, when she was ending the talk, she talked about communities. APGI itself is a community. And so I believe all of us are spending a couple of days over here because we already understand the power of communities. That's the very reason, basically, all of us are here. Then, why this topic? Believe me, we are not going to tell you what community of practices are. We are not going to tell you its benefits. What we will be doing is we will be sharing our own story, how we grew our communities, what experiences and learnings basically we have, how they have actually sustained even during the pandemic when we started working remotely. And if you actually approach communities strategically, if you invest in people, what value it can give you beyond knowledge sharing, basically. So that's what we will be talking about. So it's about our experiences and learnings. But before I really move on, is there anyone in the audience who is new to the concept of community of practices or does not know about it? Anyone?
Doesn't seem to be.
Okay, that's good. So we can just skip this one and we will straight away go to evolution of our communities. Uh, we will at first give you some background knowledge of where we were at what point in time and how we actually progressed and how we kept building our communities. That's from where actually we will start. So it's our journey that we will cover first. So the story actually begins somewhere around 2017. We were already into agile transformation journey. We were looking at our product lines. We were realigning our teams. We were changing organization structure. So all those things were happening. And one fine day, a couple of architects just bumped into each other. They were having casual talk. And what they figured out is that they are working on the same problem, but in different product lines. And they continued that discussion. And then it resulted into something called Chai Pe Charcha. It was a very informal, basically gathering of few architects. They decided that we should have, different product lines should have at least some level of connect among architects so that we know what's happening in different product lines. And this, in the Chai Pe Charcha, I was also part of that group. It was a small group. And we used to discuss anything that can be labeled as architecture. That's how actually we began. Before I move on, let me tell you a few things. We at Tieto Every believe in three things. One is whatever we do should be employee driven. Leadership is there, management is there to support you, to help you, to remove your impediments, but it has to be employee driven. Employees should drive it. That's first thing. Second thing, we make sure that everything should be outcome based. That's another thing we believe in. And the third thing is whatever we do, we should have a structured approach. We should have a very systematic approach to how we actually solve our problems. So those are basically the three things we primarily believe in. This Chai Pe Charcha was certainly employee driven. It was employee driven to the extent that other developers got to know that some interesting technical discussions happen in these informal forums, and they started joining in, and it grew. So certainly it was employee driven, but it did not have an outcome, so to say. It was really effective when few handful of architects were coming together discussing, and it was helping them as well, but it started growing. And that's when the leadership thought that we certainly have attraction from employees. We should really invest into it. It has a potential, but we have to be organized, and we have to take care that the communities, basically whatever small communities, formal, informal, they should be really outcome based. That's first. There's another thing that was missing, and the third thing that I talked about was structured approach. So we decided to actually start investing into communities, and that's where the ideation started, and something called as Spark, as a program of community of practices, actually born. Aniket was actually part of that Spark program or the community of practices we have since beginning. So I would actually request Aniket to actually tell us the journey of how it all began.
Yeah, thanks Chaitanya. So we were doing some of the things which we can call it as a raw community of practices, not very organized or not formal. That is okay, not structured. However, we also wanted to get outcome out of it, which was also something that was completely missing, or at least it was not in line with the business. And then year 2020 came, and all of us have faced one of the toughest challenge in the history of humankind, which we have never thought of, COVID pandemic. COVID actually helped, or not helped, but forced us to get into our shells. making sure the boundaries of silos are getting stronger and stronger. At least they were appearing so like that. The need of collaboration, I feel, was never such high ever that we have felt during the COVID time. I hope most of you would agree. And when I'm saying it was about need of collaboration, let me tell you, it was not need of collaboration for business. It was also the need of collaboration for well-being of an individual as well. Correct? A famous author, Jürgen Appelo, has written this statement which struck me in his famous book, Management 3.0. What he mentions is, Agile recognizes that people are unique individuals rather than replaceable resources. But he continues saying, the highest value, I repeat, the highest value is not in their heads, it is actually in their interaction. And we were facing the same challenge. All of us were facing the same challenge. Being an agile organization, or at least agile organization in vision, this is something we had to solve. We have seen the challenges in other areas of industries where communities of practices where they have been executing it, they have faced similar challenges, and somehow those communities of practices got stopped. But we at Toyota Every saw it a platform as an opportunity, and that's how Spark 1.0 actually came into existence, where the different engineers from different product lines were expected to come together and generate outcome which was more in line to the business. That was at least the thought to start with. So we, as employee-centric organization, actually asked our engineers, what would you like to start with in COP? Basically, which stream do you think will help you the most? And based on the response from our employees as well as business needs, we came up with 2 streams under this hood of COP. One is Agile, another is DevOps. The reasons were obvious. We were on the Agile journey. DevOps was something coming up. But let me tell you, the journey started with architects. And we continued with Agile and DevOps to start with. An architect joined us later. So, looking backward, what was different? What was different here in Spark 1.0 than Chai Pe Charcha? First, I would say the community was more focused. When the community was formed, they derived their vision statement, mission statement, they knew what are they doing. Second, the community was more structured in the sense that they had decided their own community contributor, which was part of a community. They had their meeting cadences set. They were aware of the time boundedness or the timeline which we derived for Spark 1.0. And sorry, I missed this. This initiative was time bound to start with, and we continued that. We'll share the story. Third one is the clarity. Now people knew what are they going to do when they will meet. Why are they here as a part of a COP? And fourth thing, that is something that was also a major, a different thing, was diversity. So here if you say, yeah, at Chai Pe Charcha, all architects were there. But when we started with this initiative, thoughtfully we designed it so that there were SMEs, there were aspirants, and there were new learners as well to get into different thought process onto the table. As a part of COP 1.0, we really got good outcomes, which were, let's say, in terms of generating or getting more exposure to the expertise, sharing best practices. However, what we observed is those outcomes were more in line to the benefits of only COP members. We had our own learnings, which we took care of it in the next version, 2021. Empiricism is something very important in Agile, right? So what we did in Agile COP 2.0, that is Spark 2.0, that we missed in 2020 or we think would have helped us. The first is business sponsorship. So we got in business sponsorship for COP initiative in 2021, and that enabled us to help our COP members with different trainings, workshops, or guest sessions, or infrastructure for that matter. That really helped us to also keep the motivation going on for our COP members. And when I talk about this, the business sponsorship, we also have experienced, okay, the outcomes were more focused towards the individual, but we need to think of organization as a whole. So this time, the reviews were also incorporated. So these reviews or the periodic reviews is something that COP members have done for themselves. And also, yes, business sponsors, they are sponsors after all, right? So they were also part of the COP reviews. So that has helped us to generate outcome which was more in line to the business needs going forward. Again, empiricism is something very important in Agile, right? So we had our own learnings there also, and what we did is we wanted to take it to the next level, which we did in year 2022. Which Chaitanya, you can cover it.
Yeah. What Aniket actually just mentioned, I will take it forward. Aniket mentioned that there was a business sponsorship, and there were the COPs, basically Spark communities, which we had in Spark 2.0. They were more aligned to the business. What that means in practice, basically, is we have our own product roadmaps, we have our own objectives, we have our own technical roadmaps. So what we try to do is basically whatever community is doing, we try to align them with our roadmap, so that the outcome of the basically whatever communities are producing, they are really directly adding value to the business, to the roadmap. So that's what the thought was. By the time we actually came into 2022, we, as an organization, we had already adopted objectives and key results, that OKRs. There was a workshop there on OKRs, basically OKRs as a framework. And we said, then why can't we actually try it with Spark communities as well? And that's where in Spark 3.0 in 2022, we actually experimented having OKRs for this Spark 3.0. Another important basically thing happened. If you remember, all of us have experienced heavy attrition during 2021. It was a year of attrition, and that gave rise to one interesting challenge to solve. We did a lot of hiring, and our team composition actually suddenly changed because of a lot of hiring, and there was attrition. Of course, all of you already know. What happens when the team composition changes? What we observed is the skills which we had hired, they were really good at their core skills, but they were not necessarily from the product development background. We are the product organization, and they did not have the thought process, and they did not have multiple things basically we expect from our engineers. That was something missing. Post-pandemic, what we have observed is that our business dynamics was also changing. Our customers actually started expecting us to be on cloud. We were already talking about cloud all the while, but customers were not ready to actually go on public cloud. But we saw growing acceptance from the customers for cloud as well. Third thing is there was a lot of push which generated for shift left approach, be it shift left on performance engineering, shift left on security, shift left on quality. So there are a lot of things that started changing between 2020 to 2022. So when you have, and we already had a growth plan, and we already had ambitions. So what we saw is we have a lot of workforce which we want to elevate in their thought process. We want to actually make them aware of different approaches. Basically, we have to prepare them for the aggressive product and technology roadmap we have. And when we were actually thinking about it, we went back to communities again. Basically, we thought that some community way of learning could be one step forward to actually address these challenges. And that's where we introduced a couple of initiatives. That COP++ is basically initiatives. First initiative we introduced is a Tech Talk. In Tech Talk, what we do is subject matter experts actually come together and we do a panel discussion, and all the teams can listen to them. And in that, we do not discuss any theoretical things, basically. We talk about the practical matters to solve. We talk about how to handle, for example, we would talk about cloud readiness and what that cloud readiness really means in practice for us, okay? Something like that. What happens is when you listen to the subject matter experts you have, your thought process gets triggered. You think differently. You start exploring something. Because as I said, until Spark 2.0, we were limited to the members of the COP, and we had a scalability problem to solve. We wanted to actually reach out to multiple people. So Tech Talk is one way we actually solved it. It is not, of course, it is not a traditional community of practices. It's just another initiative, but a lot of things we do in the Tech Talk, and there is another initiative called Learning Factory. A lot of expertise and a lot of things basically we do there do come from this community of practices and the communities basically we have built. And in that sense, they are really relevant and important. Another actually initiative we started is under this COP++, that's basically Learning Factory. Learning Factory is a workshop format. So what you do typically in Tech Talk, you do some panel discussions, but in 1 hour or 1.5 hours, you can barely scratch the surface, whatever may be the topic. So, and most of the engineers, they are happy when they first see their Hello World program running. They don't want to see anything in the PPTs. So Learning Factory is a platform which we have developed where you can go and you can experiment, you can do something hands-on and learn. So that's the Learning Factory platform basically we have built. So over this years, 2017 to 2022, what we have really done is, according to changing business needs, business circumstances, remote ways of working, we have actually tried to adapt different ways of working. We have tried to actually adapt our communities, and we have actually strengthened our communities over the period of over this period of time. But having said this, okay, why do we really say that there lies a power in the communities? What impact actually did we see that we are here sharing our story? So,
yeah, sure. So the first and most important thing, what we thought is communities of practices as one of the initiatives or platform has helped us to stay ahead in the curve in our own context. So I'm not saying that if we wanted to stay ahead in the curve for the cloud adoption has happened in several areas in the industry. But what does it mean for us? And what does it take for us to get into or to go towards the cloud readiness in our own execution of roadmap? That is something we are saying it has helped us staying ahead of the curve. So basically it was helping us to get future ready. And when I'm talking about future ready, we have considered the two main aspects of it. One is engineering, another is talent. Both of them are very important, right? So for engineering, COP has been helping us and our employees to get more expertise built, get them more exposure in terms of technical aspect as well as technological aspect. For example, technology adoption. If someone wants to work on something that his or her current project is not allowing, COP is a way where they can experiment those, where they can learn those things. So that's how engineering aspect has helped us to get future ready. We being a product organization, it is something very important for us to enable or empower our employees to take new challenges, learn the things and go ahead. So that was one aspect. When we have been considering talent as another aspect to get future ready, it was more on empowering our employees, giving them more exposure. So These are some of the things. So let me read out some of the things that our COP has generated. Mind you, these are some of the outcomes, not all the outcomes, and that too are from the recent COP versions. So the first one was uniform dashboard across product lines. So I'm just quoting it here, being conservative, that there were around or approximate 20 teams which now had uniform dashboards. And when I'm saying uniform dashboard, it's not only in terms of velocity and cycle time matrices. It is so obvious, right? How about uniformity in code coverage? I'm talking about code coverage uniformity. How about uniformity in dashboards related to pipeline, the pipeline failure dashboards? So through COP, we could get uniformity on the dashboard across the product lines. The next is we could, as we mentioned, when we brought in business sponsorship, we could give agile coaching and certification program for our members in agile COP. That has helped them to understand what coaching is. I'm not saying that they have started coaching or so, but at least the first initial inception of thought we could give them, that as a Scrum Master, coaching is one of the very important aspects. Going next, we could also execute 2 workshops on advanced agile concept. When I'm saying advanced, so it's not only related to some frameworks and related things, but it also includes leadership aspect over there. Next, 10 plus POCs regarding cloud transformation from architect community that they have done already when they have been meeting when they formalized and got into the Spark initiative. Last but not the least, DevOps produced containerization and Kubernetes POCs within each product lines. So these were also proof of concept that they have done. We have started, we actually started the journey of CI/CD pipeline related aspects. So these POCs were really, really helpful for us to get those outcomes aligned with the business of executing the strategy. But let me ask you one question. Do you really think these are outcomes? Any guess? Please. Correct. I also agree. These are really, really important outputs, because this is something that is anyways expected out of a COP, that they are anyways doing it. So now the obvious question, what are the outcomes then? So what we considered as an outcome is the first, smoother roadmap executions. So when I'm saying our architect community created 10 successful POCs, now we are in a better position to execute our strategies related to or the roadmap related to cloud adoption or getting cloud readiness. What cloud readiness means for us in our context. The challenges are not new anymore. The approaches have been at least checked. That is one of the things. If you go ahead, potential talent identification and next generation of roles. So by this, what we want to say is, as all of us has experienced the year of resignation, there was a talent retention. There were talent retention problems, right? This, as one of the forums, has helped us to identify the potentials in our employees. Our COPs being diverse has helped us understand their interest. It helped us work with them in a better way for their own growth along with the organization growth. And when I'm talking about the next generation role, it is something that they are getting more empowered and enabled to take the roles. Like aspirants can go for the Scrum Master role. I myself have walked or got the journey of getting into the role from Scrum Master to Product Development Manager. I started my journey as a Scrum Master in COP version 1, that is Spark 1.0. So here we are more getting future ready. Though it is on the fourth one, though it is on the fourth number, I personally think this is very important. Clarity to our employees about the growth path. And it is not only related to the talent retention. However, if they know what is happening with their or within their role, they are empowered to contribute better. To give an example, for our COP members, we have arranged a session from our leader pre-attendant, which will talk about the growth path for Scrum Master or in Agile. It is kind of an obvious thing, or it is a common thing for Scrum Master to have a thought. Now I am a Scrum Master, what next? When people are creating network with the architects, they are getting the understanding what architects really means. What does it take to be an architect? What are the expectations from an architect? So the clarity, that is something that our COP can provide you. That will help the employees to contribute even better. One of the example in here for SDET, some of the members actually from the background of the development, as a learner joined DevOps community, then they joined as a learner to the testing community, and found out that they have actually interest in going to the role of automation tester. And it was in line with their aspiration as well as interest, and they actually walked the path of SDET. This is something that, and the last one, elevated thought process. So one of the expectations from our COP members is that they should take back their learnings to the team. And when they are doing this, they are sharing their experiences, they are sharing their why of a thing, and we have what we have experienced, along with some other initiatives that we are trying to generate out awareness amongst our development teams. Teams have started talking about shift left approach. Teams have started talking about why BDD is important. Teams have started, actually not only the developers but also product owners have started things like this in the initial phase of the product development cycle. So these are some of the things that we feel makes us future ready. And definitely the outcomes are important, but this is more impactful. So that is one of the things. Over to you, Chaitanya.
I will try to go as fast as I can because he has shown me time a couple of times. One of the important things here is that over a period of time, leadership has actually strengthened the communities. And in last 2 days, we are talking about people first, right? And this community of practices we have, the communities we have and different initiatives we have, they have really proved to be engine of professional growth. For example, people who are actually doing really well, those who are actually exploring themselves, trying to elevate themselves, they obviously get a visibility across the organization. And we as leaders actually try to give them more and more visibility as well. Yeah, as a result of it, basically they get different opportunities as well. Because in Theatre we have global mentorship program, and we have people coming from the COPs going into that global mentorship program as a mentor. We have people who actually realize that trainer is their calling. They are really good at training, and they are now engaging with our learning and development department, and they are actually going there as a trainer. So this actually opens up a lot of avenues for the people, and this is not just in-house, basically. We have people who have represented Theatre both in different conferences like APGI, be it NASCOM. So they are going out, and as a result, they are getting recognition in the organization and in the industry as well. And that's one thing, and that really makes them grow. Another important thing that happens is when you have your people, you see them doing different things, performing, exploring themselves in different roles, in different areas. It really becomes easy for leadership to give organic growth to them. They have certain ambitions, they have certain expectations. It helps us actually to help them to create their own career development plan. It helps us to actually groom them and transition them into the roles actually they want to be in. And we have several examples where people who have grown in the organization are taking diverse roles and getting an organic growth into the team. And many of them, I'm not saying that all of them, but many of them are coming and developing themselves in the communities and other initiatives we have. Holistic professional development, that's important for each and every one of us. In yesterday's, I think yesterday's keynote speech, we talked about, I think, brick workers versus cathedral builders. Okay, we don't want our engineers to be just brick workers. We don't want our developers just to be coders. We want them to be cathedral builders. What that means actually is we want them to have an idea of a bigger picture. We want them to have an understanding of how business works, how actually engineering works, what it means to be a developer, what it means to be doing product development. And the exposure and the experiences basically they get in those communities in various roles basically. And when I say roles, I'm talking about roles because we have a certain framework where you can perform different role within a community. That's why I'm referring to a role. I'm not referring to a title, basically. And that's where actually you get a holistic professional development. And another important thing is that for any product business to grow and sustain, it's really important that people who are committed to the organization, who are committed to the product, who are committed to the team, they stay with you because they have a lot of they have a lot of talent. And when you invest into people, when people actually see that, when your team see that organization is helping you grow, they want to stay back. Okay, it's not that people actually work only for salaries. Okay, there are so many other things they actually work for, and that something has helped us to retain talent as well. Another important thing is employee belongingness and satisfaction. I will really move fast now. Basically, we worked in the remote ways of working, and remote working basically tends to create silos. On the other hand, these communities actually help us to actually prevent those silos being created, because community members were really together. It helped us to actually grow the employee belongingness, and all of these efforts actually are contributing to employee satisfaction. If I quickly go ahead, and it's showing us in our internal employee survey as well, the engagement score is going up. Growth, people feel that they have now more and more growth opportunities, and the leadership score is also going up if you see from 2020 to 2022. So it's not just that we have some kind of feeling, it's actually proven with the data. We see things happening, changing on the ground, and the data is there to prove that our community of practices are working. By the way, we are not saying that these COPs are silver bullet, they are solution to everything, absolutely not. They work because Theory has a good ecosystem basically built. We have good roadmaps, product roadmaps, technology roadmaps. We run different initiatives. We have a good HR framework called My Growth, where we continuously engage with the employees, try to understand, we guide them, we create development plans for them and career development plans. We give mentorship. So all these things together actually give you the outcome actually we talked about. The point to note here is that many things basically we have in our ecosystem. For many of them, our communities are like feeders. Many things are actually, talent is identified in the community, then it's of course groomed and developed in other programs we have in the ecosystem. So it's basically a result of all those things. So I will really rush ahead, and maybe Aniket, you can try to summarize why and what worked for us really.
So coming to some of the things, what worked for us. Business partnership, to make sure that the business outcomes are aligned with the business needs, as well as the business sponsorship is one of the part of the business partnership which strengthens the community. Next, nomination-based participation. Basically here we want people to nominate and participate instead of we saying to people to participate. When we do not have agreement from the people, we face the challenges related to motivation, which gets eventually converted into the debt, which needs to be repaid by the way.
I will just add one quick thing. When we actually ask for nominations, we ask people why do they want to join the community.
Correct.
That actually helps us understand why they really want to join the community. We want active members in the community.
So the only 3 simple questions: what is their motivation for being part of the community, how they think it will help them, and how they will be getting things back to the team. So the business aspect, again, time boundedness, this is something that we have tried and tested. We want our communities to execute for certain time. I can sense some questions on this front, but we can connect later for this to share what our what are the things that we have learned from this. But this has helped us to keep our employees motivated. The Phoenix effect also applies here. Periodic assessment and reviews, definitely we have already talked about it, how it helps steering the self-organized group to generate the needed outcome. Rewards and recognition, definitely we do recognize the top 3 contributors from each of the COP, and those COP contributors, the names of the top 3 members are selected by the COP members itself. So no intervention from the leadership or management at all. We also take care of some extrinsic motivations like giving coupons and some other aspects. But yeah, this is something also that has helped us or worked. And last but not the least, strategic approach. We have designed a framework to execute the COP. Basically, how leadership can provide the support, how they can have their spokes, and what is expected from the members of the COP. So by this, I think.
Yeah, basically the learning for us basically is that community of practices is not a new thing to the industry. But if leadership actually takes a strategic approach, disciplined approach, and if we actually operate our communities with clear vision and with an idea about what we are really expecting, you can leverage community of practices basically beyond just knowledge sharing groups or groups just sharing practices. They can add business value to many other areas as well. So with this, I know time is up, so you can connect with me and Aniket anytime. But thanks a lot for listening to us.
Thank you guys.
Okay, considering the time constraint again, apologize for that. We'll play fastest hands up first. Oh God. So he has already raised his hand, so we'll have one question and then you can connect later with them. You were quite quick.
First of all, thank you for the opportunity to ask a question. Question is, I went through the slides and we find a section there, left shift.
Mm-hmm.
When I correlate this agile with service management, again agile with service management, and I come up with the topic continual service improvement in service management. There is an option there, left shift. So when we work in an agile environment, we try to create a team, we try to build up a strategy, and we try to implement it. What I can see in this entire graphical presentation which was shown across. Right? And there is a team involved in this from end to end. Now when we come to a left shift, I just want to clarify 2 pointers here. First pointer is left shift is getting automated. Like for an example, there is a multiple activity which is going on. We try to create a knowledge base for it, okay? And the end user is able to utilize that knowledge base. This is one aspect of left shift wherein the team can work on a different platform once it is done. Second is training the upcoming resources in Agile or any platform so that they can work on this and they can work, and once they are familiar, they can create a knowledge base, and that knowledge base can be upgraded based upon the requirements which are coming. So just a clarification required on this. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks a lot for this input, and we will connect outside. When we were actually talking about shift left on performance engineering or quality, or basically what we were actually referring to is making our people aware of the shift left approach in general. Okay, and actually bringing different roles which for whatever reasons have not been part of basically decision making and the activities which are delayed. For example, let's take an example of performance testing. Okay, it's often done after you develop something. Okay, we want our product owners, we want our product management organization also to understand that performance is not just about performance testing done at the last in the regression cycle. It's something to be thought about since beginning. So that's basically the context we had when we were talking about shift-led. But your point is interesting, we will connect.
Similar is the case for security, and we are not saying we are doing it only through COP. We have our own other initiatives also, like the group of security coaches who are driving it, but we can leverage COP to generate the awareness. All right. Is that
Sure.
all?
Are we done?
Sure,
Thank you.
And definitely, I am sure you all would agree that, for a strong organization to grow, we should have a strong community of practices. And with your beliefs of employee-driven, outcome-based and structured approach, that is definitely a key takeaway for all of us to grow our communities. And secondly, on the part of, technical talks and panel discussions wherein you are taking practical matters into consideration rather than doing the, theoretical stuff would definitely help others also to take this ahead in their organizations. And thank you for the thought-provoking sessions as well as sharing your insights on that. May I please request Navneet Chandra and Uday Utawar to please felicitate the speakers. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Close the mic.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you everyone for your attendance and patience here. Please proceed for the tea. Thank you.